Good morning, church. Pastor Mervyn, Pastor Sharon. I am humble. I thank you for this opportunity. It's not easy standing here. But when God needs to touch and transform people's lives, He raises up people. You may not feel that you are qualified. I am not qualified. But God allows you to go through certain things. When you're going through certain things, you do not understand why you're going through it. But today, I am 17 years old. I am in grade 11. Are there any young people in the church today? No, there's no young people. Pastor Sharon, I think I cannot talk today because there's no youth, there's no young people. Are there any youth here today? Yes. Louder, please.
Yes.
Do we know Jesus?
Yes.
Can you give me a J?
Yes.
No. No. Pastor Marvin, I think I can leave. I've come to the wrong place. These people that are sitting in this church don't know Jesus. Because if we really know Jesus, we want to be on fire for Jesus. Give me a J.
Yes.
Give me an E.
Yes.
Give me an S.
Yes.
Give me a U.
You.
Give me an S.
Yes.
What do we get?
Jesus.
Okay, to the people at the back, are you in church or you're out of church? Because Pastor looks like there's only a few people in this church today, so I'm only going to be talking to a few people in this church. People, our children see what we do, okay? So if we do not participate in certain things, our children will not participate in certain things. You see, the reason why I dressed in a uniform, I was 17 years old and I fell pregnant. I was doing grade 11, okay? So am I talking to some people in church? Yeah. The reason why I'm doing this is because we're going to prevent certain things happening to certain children. This today is church, but it's a lesson in church. Okay? So in 1988, I was 17. I grew up with a single mother. My father, I love him dearly. Him and I have a perfect relationship, only as of, I think, the last 20 years. But I didn't grow up with a father, okay? My mother was a wonderful woman. She grew up in a children's home. So today, these people that are sitting here, that are broken, that have been rejected, as Pastor Mervyn said, we get married, nobody gives us a rule book. We've got to learn trial and error. My mother fell pregnant at 17 with me. I fell pregnant at 17. At that time, I couldn't understand what was going on. I got myself involved with the guy that was out of school. Okay, young people, we're innocent. You see my uniform? My uniform is just on my knee, okay? I did not have friends. I had moved into a new town, okay? My mother was trying to pull her life together after her relationship with my dad didn't work out. And we went on with life. She worked, she provided. I wasn't short of anything. But then, there was a lot of things that I was short of inside. There's only so much a parent can do. And to all you young people that are sitting here, you must be saying, oh, my mother, my father, they're there, we got all the material things. And to the parents sitting at the back, because I think those are only parents sitting at the back. Sometimes, we don't realize that our life is imbalanced. We only do what is best for our children. We provide. Because when we were growing up, our parents provided. I grew up when I was still young with my grandparents. There were 13 children in the house, and we were short of nothing. They provided. But you know what they didn't provide? And God rest their soul, they didn't know any better. They didn't provide emotional and psychological treatment to our minds. We knew that there was a plate of food. We knew that there was a warm bed. But there wasn't that person that would hug you and kiss you. You knew they loved you because you were short of nothing. And that's what's happening today. The same things that happened back in the days are happening now. And then we want to know, where are we going wrong? Where are we going wrong? You know where we're going wrong? See these things here? It's called cell phones. See these things here? They're called earphones. As long as we have provided the material wealth for our children, we feel it's a-okay. No, it's not okay. Because in the home, you find that the children are walking like this. I hate these things. And all they're doing is on their phone. John, can you go do the dishes? Yes, Mom. Susan, can you do this? Are we going to knock on that door? Hello, how are you? How was school? Oh, okay. But are we getting ready to know our children? No, we're not. I got married at 25, right? Wasn't married very long. Baby number 2 along the way. 30, I was divorced. Why? Because we didn't have a manual. My ex-husband was a pastor's son. Okay? A pastor's son. But nobody gave us a marital manual to say this is how it's supposed to be done. It didn't work. We had to cut our losses and we went our separate ways. But in all that, at the age of 30, I was involved in a tragic car accident down in Port Shepstone. I lost my mother, who was only 47 at that age, and I lost my son. Now, being an only child, it was devastating. Devastating. But thank God, I knew God. Because I knew my life will never ever be the same. Tragedy hits everybody's door. Death is something that comes uninvited. Nobody gives you an invitation and says in 2 days' time, something's going to knock on your door. Hell no. Death just creeps in like a thief in the night. And when I came out of a coma and I laid in that Port Shepstone hospital, I knew something wasn't wrong. Nobody came to tell me, Audery, your son is no more, your mom is no more. When my family came to see me, I knew something was wrong because nobody mentioned their names. When I asked the sisters that were sitting next to me, she said, no, they gone to another hospital. But I knew. I lay there and I said, Lord, I need supernatural strength because this journey is going to be an unknown journey. But church, God gives you what you ask for because He gave me supernatural strength. I had to go on that road alone. In our cultures, we do not understand grief. Grief is a word we've never heard of when we were growing up. We wonder, why are we carrying this pain? Some of us that are sitting here are carrying pain from when we were growing up. Maybe your grandparents grew you up, maybe your auntie, maybe you were abandoned, whatever the story may be. We are all, each and every one of us cannot say that we don't understand pain. We all carry grief. Grief is not just a physical death. Grief is an internal thing. So whether you lost your job, whether you lost your home, whether you went through a divorce, whatever the circumstances may be, you are carrying some form of pain. And if we don't deal with that pain, it manifests into other things. And we are going to with this, that, when we look at our children are carrying pain from us as parents. I couldn't understand why my father left my mother. So what ended up happening, I found myself in the arms of an older person because I was looking for something. Yes, my mother gave me the love, but there was a void. Each and every one of us are sitting in a void. Some of us got into a marriage because there was a void and we made the girl pregnant and we had no choice but we had to marry that girl. And then 15, 16 years later we find we can't do this anymore and then we divorce. Ask ourselves why. And then to make matters worse, we don't even heal, we go into another relationship. And then when we look at our generation of children, we want to know what's going on. Where did we go wrong? I'll tell you where you went wrong. You did not heal yourself. You did not fix yourself. And you bring around about another generation, and that generation becomes messed up. We are sitting with a generation that is crying out for help. As parents, are we equipped to help this generation? No, we're not, because we haven't even equipped ourselves. Pastor Mervyn, I thank God for this church. Many churches are failing the people. I was in a church, and I never went to church for 4 months because I was broken. Because grief doesn't just go away, it never goes away. You learn to live with it. You adapt, it becomes part of who you are. Not one person came to see me in church. Not one person from the church came. And God had to convict me because I realized that, God is my source. Man is not my source. With all due respect to the people need to realize that we know exactly what's going on. We know exactly what's going on. Yes, this may be the elite group that I'm talking to, but there's somebody that you guys know that is not living the right life. You can see that your neighbor's children are making the wrong choices. Pastor Marvin, when we were growing up, what do they say? It takes a village to grow up a child. Now, what happened to the village? There's no more villages. Everybody's too busy growing their empire, too busy going to work, too busy getting a fancy car, too busy getting a new house. Yes, bad and good, those things are good. But what are we doing to save a generation? Looking the other way. You know, my children tell me, I'm forward. Because if I am on the streets and I see ill behavior, I am going to stop and I'm going to sort it out. How can you as a parent watch two young boys stomping each other on the road and do nothing about it? I even said to my children, I'm going to buy a shambok. And if I come across that behavior in the school, I'm going to shambok these children. These children come from parents. And some of you parents may have these children. But what are you doing? Hey, we have parents in our community that are hiding the guns for their children. That are hiding the drugs for their children because they're making life easy for them. And you know what's so sad? I have to counsel that mother after she's buried her son. But the sad thing is you knew what your son was doing, but you chose to look the other way. Parents, we need to stop this. Every single day, children are busy with this. What is it called? I think it's called lean. You know what is this lean? It's a cough mixture that we go and buy over the counter. They're mixing it with cooey. You see every single young person got a bottle of cooey in their hand. What are they doing? They're drinking it. Oh no, it's fine. We don't think anything. But you don't realize that that child is getting high. That medication is altering their behavior. And then when you go to school, you want to know why they are so bold to stand and tell a teacher off. So bold to take a knife and stab another student. What are we creating? You and I need to put a stop to it. We got lunch boxes. We think our children are taking lunch. What is this? I've seen these things at school. They crush the Xanax tablets. We all know about Xanax tablets. This is a church, but Pastor Marvin and Pastor Shannon are real. They're real. Children, don't think we are in the dark. God is opening our eyes because He wants you to become somebody and not nothing. You cannot look at your role models, and your role models are all these, I don't even know, these people on Facebook and social media. You know, you're following this person, Instagram, you're following that person. Those people, God, avoid. Those people have to get high before they get onto the stage. Why? Because they're also carrying their own grief. Those people live lives like you and I. They don't know where to turn to. They came from homes where most probably they grew up in the church, but they went off the rails. But I'm telling you guys, you need to come back to Jesus. For the young people that don't know Jesus, if you have a friend that is sniffing in the toilet, it is your responsibility to align that person. It is your responsibility. For too long we sit here and we say, as long as it's not my circle. No, that circle is your circle. Because you see, when your daughter becomes of age and she goes out there and she finds a guy, that is the guy that was messed up at the age of 11 or 12. He was blowing his brains away, and then she's come, oh mom, I meet my new boyfriend. Oh, and by the way, mom, I'm now pregnant. What are you going to do about that? So if you're not prepared to get out of your comfort zone and save somebody's child, then you're going to have a problem on your doorstep. Back in the days when we were growing up, and my mother said to me, this boy is not for you. And the minute she said that, I thought, this boy is for me. I was 17, she said, my God, you're not going to get married. She gave me permission when I was 25, I got married when I was 25, but my mother cried at my wedding. I couldn't understand. But only later on when I sat and looked at the pictures, I said, no, there was a story here. But because of ignorance and disobedience, I chose not to listen to my parents. Young people, listen to your parents. They know what they're talking about. You know what the young people say? They live their lives. It's time for us to live our lives. Why don't you let me make the same mistake? No. Why waste your life? Why make the same mistake? The same mistake comes with a price. Some young people are not so lucky. no. It's time for us to go back to the drawing board. We have all failed as parents. Yes, there's no manual. Yes, there's no rule book. But I'm telling you, don't wait until a tragedy takes place in order for you to say, Lord, where did I go wrong? Today is the day for you to start evaluating your life. Those married couples, keep a close eye on your children, because the enemy is out for the Christian children. The enemy is out like a roaring lion. I have pastors, I have so many people that I have to talk to. And you know what's so sad? Because religion's out of the school, because discipline is out of the home, we feel that we must sit with our arms folded. No, 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 no. I always say, as long as I get back to the child, I will handle the child when I know best. And back in the days, the Bible says, you can't come to me and say, Audery, how must I discipline the child? I don't know what to do. The child says he will go charge me. As long as you're under my roof, you're going to abide by my rules. When you get your own home, you'll make your own rules. So parents, stop being intimidated by these rascals, because they are rascals. Today, some of them are sitting very innocently in church, but see how they behave at school. Yes, yeah. And the girls are, I'm telling you, it's a disgrace. Yeah, take the chair. Yeah, whack him. I mean, really, these are mothers' children. Unless these things don't happen in Chatsworth. But where I come from, it happens. And today, we are being real. So we can sit, we can fold our arms, we can be elite, whatever. But when we go out there, yes, it may not happen in your home, but it's happening in your neighbor's house. Your neighbor's getting abused by a husband, and you turn the other way. And when the ambulance comes to fetch your body, oh, shame. Wonder what happened. No, you know what happened. Because you heard the screams. And what are you doing about it? Nothing. What happens? What's happening to those children? Those children are being exposed to the abuse. And you're looking the other way. And then you want to know why the children is carrying on the way they're carrying on. There's a generation that we are losing. And we need to pull them back. Yes. Children, respect goes a long way. When your parents speak, listen. They know what they're talking about. The sad thing, we've got child-headed homes. Children are growing up children. Children are becoming mothers. How do you become a mother at the age of 15? How do you become a mother at the age of 15? I went to the clinic one day and the mother was 17. And what came out of her mouth, she was swearing a 2-year-old child. I was shocked. And she told me, oh, mind your own business. I said, this child is my business. I said, and if you don't speak properly to this child, I'm going to get the welfare involved. We don't do that anymore. That child is going to grow up speaking exactly the same as her mother. Behavior is learned. We learn the behavior. We see what our parents are doing. So yes, we come to church, we preach, whatever. We sit here and we conduct ourselves in a certain manner. Pastor Mervyn said the ones. Can I come and ask your neighbor who you are? Because yes, we all put on a church cloak when we come here. I get angry with my children. I want to kill them sometimes. Yes, I'm human. I'm human. But I got to know where I'm going wrong. And I've got to come back and apologize. Our children need to learn to apologize. Our children need to learn to humble themselves. Parents, grief is painful. You may not have experienced a death, but you are carrying a grief, pain from back in the days. I spoke to a man, he's married, his marriage is all, is not working. And he says, you know, I grew up without a father. We got to go back to the root. Some of us can't understand why things are not working out. We got to go back to the root. We got to fix us. And the only way we can fix us is through Jesus. Jesus is our healer. He's our way maker. He's our promise keeper. I had to learn the hard way. There was nobody that gave me a book and says, this is what grief is all about. No. God told me to open up a support group. I thought, God? I must open up a support group and I'm such a mess. In that time, I had lost 5 people. 2 to suicide, 1 to sickness, and the 2 was my mother and my son. But I had to be obedient. And through that grief support, I was able to get my healing. I was able to help others, and I was able to learn from other people's experiencing. So sometimes God allows you to go through certain things, not for yourself. He will bring a situation, a difficult situation. The situation won't change, but God will change you to go through that situation. So stop saying, I wish my situation changes. It's never going to change. If your husband is an alcoholic, you cannot change a manner, and then we will know why the people don't want to come to the church. No, it's time for us to repent. A lot of us are coming, we're bound by a religious spirit, but our fruits, we can't see the fruits, because people say, oh, don't look at that neighbor. You must hear what comes out of our mouth. Parents, our children are watching us. Please, let us be role models. Children, behave in a certain manner. The school, you are in school for a short period, and you an adult for the rest of your life. Stop rushing to become adults. Enjoy your youth. I wish I was still at school. I wish I was still young. But I can't turn the clock. But for you guys that still got the time, make the best of it. Make the right choices. And let God be the center. A boy is not going to fill that void. A girl is not going to fill that void. Only God. And I am a living testimony of it. God will fill your pain. God bless you.